with us. And I'm sure everybody will enjoy this association with you, Prabhuji. Thank you very much for giving us your time. Prabhuji, we are reading the Bhagavad Gita as it is, and we are on chapter 10. And the verse for today is text 42. So, Prabhuji, we can read the text and then hand over to you.
Yes, if you would do that, please.
Okay. Aishwarya Mataji, Hare Krishna to you. Mataji, are you there?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Mataji, will you kindly read the text for us? We haven't had your association as well. So Danvat Pranam to you too.
Hare Krishna. You know, I've just come on. I don't even have the Bhagavad Gita with me right now.
Okay. Okay, Mataji. Thank you for joining.
I'm sorry about that.
That's not a problem. Soni Mataji, can you read the text? Because Shashwin is in the car and maybe his voice will not be heard by everybody. Okay, I think, okay, Shashwin's here. Shashwin, do you want to read the text as you are prepared to do that? Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Shashwin, can you read the text? Okay, I think
I'll read the text. Is that all right? Or is Shashwin going to do it?
Nantosti mama divyanam vibhutinam parantapa eshatu deshata prokto vibhuter vistaro maya. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Shashwin, for reading text 40. Soni Mataji, are we supposed to do text 42 today? Because I wasn't there on Friday and I was told to do 42 today. Kindly guide us. Kumar Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, it should be 42. Even I was not there on Friday. Sorry,
Okay.
Mataji.
Okay.
But I spoke to Prabhuji. It is 42 today.
Okay, so Shashwin, it is 42. I can probably read the text. Athava bhavanetana jnane tvataranjuna vaishtabhiyam idam prishtam eka sena stito jagat. Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, we hand over to you.
Okay. Word for word. Yeah. Atava
Athava
or
or
bahuna
bahuna
many.
many.
Etena
Itena
by this kind.
by this kind.
Kim
Kim
what?
what?
Yatena
Jnatena
by knowing.
by knowing.
Tava
Tava
your.
your.
Arjuna.
Arjuna.
Oh Arjuna.
O Arjuna.
Vistabhya
Vishtabhya.
pervading.
Pervading.
Aham
Aham.
I.
I.
Idam
Idam.
this.
This.
Kritsnam.
Krishna.
That's Kritsnam.
Kritsna.
Entire.
Entire.
Eka
Eka.
by one.
By one.
Amshena
Amshena.
part.
Part.
Sita
Sita.
am situated.
Am situated.
Jagat
Jagat.
universe.
Universe.
Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. But what need is there, Arjuna, for all this detailed knowledge? With a single fragment of myself, I pervade and support this entire universe. Responsibly, but what need is there,
But what need is there,
Arjuna,
Arjuna,
for all this detailed knowledge.
for all this detailed knowledge.
With a single fragment of myself,
With a single fragment of myself,
I pervade and support
I pervade and support
this entire universe.
this entire universe.
Purport. The Supreme Lord is represented throughout the entire material universes by his entering into all things as the Supersoul. The Lord here tells Arjuna that there is no point in understanding how things exist in their separate opulence and grandeur. He should know that all things are existing due to Krishna's entering them as Supersoul. From Brahma, the most gigantic entity, on down to the smallest ant, all are existing because the Lord has entered each and all and is sustaining them. There is a mission that regularly propounds that worship of any demigod will lead one to the Supreme Personality of Godhead or the supreme goal. But worship of demigods is thoroughly discouraged herein because even the greatest demigods like Brahma and Shiva represent only part of the opulence of the Supreme Lord. He is the origin of everyone born, and no one is greater than him. He is Asa Murdva, which means that no one is superior to him and that no one is equal to him. In the Padma Purana, it is said that one who considers the Supreme Lord Krishna in the same category with demigods, be they even Brahma or Shiva, becomes at once an atheist. If, however, one thoroughly studies the different descriptions of the opulences and expansions of Krishna's energy, then one can understand without any doubt the position of Lord Sri Krishna and can fix his mind in the worship of Krishna without deviation. The Lord is all-pervading by the expansion of his partial representation, the Supersoul, who enters into everything that is. Pure devotees therefore concentrate their minds in Krishna consciousness in full devotional service, and therefore they are always situated in the transcendental position. Devotional service and worship of Krishna are very clearly indicated in this chapter in verses 8 through 11. That is the way of pure devotional service. How one can attain the highest devotional perfection of association with the Supreme Personality of Godhead has been thoroughly explained in this chapter. Srila Baladev Vijabhusana, a great acharya in disciplic succession from Krishna, concludes his commentary on this chapter by saying, Yat Shakti Leshat Saradya Bhavant At Yugra Tejasa Yad Amshenat Ritam Vishwan Sa Krishna Dashame Archate. From Lord Krishna's potent energy, even the powerful sun gets its power, and by Krishna's partial expansion, the whole world is maintained. Therefore, Lord Sri Krishna is worshipable. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport to the 10th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita in the matter of the opulence of the Absolute. And the text again, what need is there, Arjuna, for all this detailed knowledge? With a single fragment of myself, I pervade and support this entire universe. Om Jnanatvarandasya Kanangana Shalakaya Takshur Amritam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Vanchakalpa Trubhascha Kripa Sindhu Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebho Namo Namaha. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Hari Gaur Bhaktivedanta. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So this whole, well, before I begin, let me say I appreciate your welcome and your expression of happiness for me to be present. Of course, what value do I really have? To the extent that I can just repeat this knowledge as it is, and we can hear, hopefully, as transparently as possible, the words of Lord Krishna and the words of Lord Krishna's pure devotees. So this whole chapter, Srila Prabhupada points out, is concerning the opulences and power of Lord Krishna. And he describes in detail, summarizing that Krishna aham savasya prabhava mata savam pravartante iti matva vajanti mam buddha bhava samanvataha is the source of everything and everyone. And that verse states, that those who understand Lord Krishna to be the supreme source, they Buddha Baba Samanvata, they worship him with full devotion. Others, naturally, who do not understand Krishna like that, aren't devoted to him to that extent. Earlier in the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna tells Arjuna, Bahunam Gyanavam Ante, Gyanavamam Prapadyante, Vasudevam Sabamiti, Sa Mahatma Sadurlabha, that after many births and deaths, a great soul, a Mahatma, accepts Lord Krishna as the source of everything. After many births and deaths, Srila Prabhupada points out in the Nectar of Devotion, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, that devotion service continues life after life as we strive for perfection, and we pick up from where we left off in the prior life. Bahunam Janmanam Ante. And after persevering and continuing on that path, eventually we become Vasudevam Savamiti, Sa Mahatma Sadurlabha. Number one, we understand Krishna in truth as the supreme, and we may ask the question that Bhagavad Gita is very clear about the position of Lord Krishna, the son of Mother Yashoda, the chariot driver of Arjuna, as being God, the ultimate source of everything. So how is it that Srila Prabhupada asked this question in the 7th chapter, that how is it then that so many people, philosophers and scientists and people who seem to be intelligent, don't surrender to Krishna? You know, the 10th chapter is very clear. 9th chapter is very clear. 7th chapter is very clear, crystal clear, that there is nothing beyond Lord Sri Krishna, Govinda. But not everyone accepts that. So Srila Prabhupada explains that it is not just accumulating knowledge in and of itself, but also in his lectures, number 2, becoming materially exhausted, coming to the point of wanting to give up the desire to enjoy in this world in forgetfulness of Krishna. We actually have to become increasingly ready to be a devotee of Krishna within the core of our heart. Even we read Bhagavad Gita, and you know, I can't speak for all the devotees. I can speak for myself, and I'm sure some of us, we're not completely on the level of completely surrendered pure devotees. We do have devotion. We do accept Krishna. We may be on the path. We may have been on the path of bhakti for many years. But still, we may not be able to confidently say that my heart is fully given to Krishna happily and peacefully, such as the great pure devotees. So we see within ourselves that it is a gradual process. And Srila Prabhupada writes in this purport and elsewhere that part of the process of coming to the point of more full surrender is to hear about Krishna. Number one, so that we keep getting reminded of Krishna's position, and so that we can keep faith. If we don't think Krishna is very powerful, it will be hard to keep faith in him. So it's very, very essential to hear Bhagavad Gita again and again. Srila Prabhupada recommends that devotees spend a considerable amount of time studying the first two cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam, because those first two cantos especially focus upon the opulence of Krishna and how he is everything. And then Srila Prabhupada points out to us that to hear about Krishna is itself pious. Sometimes we hear Srila Prabhupada say that bhakti, the process of bhakti is the means and the goal. It is both. Shrinvata Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Rilyanta Sto Bhajani Vidanoti Sarit Satam. Just to hear about Krishna, even if we don't understand it, even if our mind is not quite focused, just putting ourselves near the sound vibration and letting it enter our ear is Punya Shravana. And Lord Krishna points out in the end of the 7th chapter, Yesham Twantikatam Papam Janmanam Punya Karmanam Te Tavanva Moha Nirmukto Bhajanti Mam Vridavrata. Again, Jananam, that birth after birth. That only when the soul, when we are completely free of past sins and are fully engaged in pious activities, then our mind, our inner heart will become increasingly given over to Krishna, or awakened in full Krishna consciousness. It takes, just like when we go to buy something at the store, if you don't have the money, it doesn't matter how much you want it, you can't get it. And it is the same with bhakti, with the flow of devotion to Krishna. We may intellectually, mentally think it's wonderful. We may accept it. We may be trying for it. But it is said that we can surrender in a 1/10 of a second and become completely cleansed at heart, which is true. But generally, it is a process that takes time. And this hearing about Krishna, speaking about Krishna, is the means, a large part of the means. And as we do that, it will become the goal, that we are satisfied and at peace, even when things are challenging, to just stay in consciousness of Krishna. So it takes time to really become convinced. And even if we are more or less convinced, still, they're called samskaras. In Sanskrit, this word samskara means just like software programs. Our brain, our mind, our astral body, the subtle body, it has burned in thinking patterns. Even mainstream psychologists and counselors understand this principle. People have kind of software that runs, and it's hard to avoid it. So as we progress in devotional life, these anartas, that's called anartas, these other kind of thoughts, these other kind of desires, those are anartas. And what is the process? What is that sadhu sangha? Someone becomes a little interested, they start hearing Bhagavad Gita, associating with devotees, they take up the process. And what is the process? Bhajana Kriya. We have to hear about Krishna lots, and also do the other parts of our devotional life. I would say material life, but our material life should be integrated. But in any case, sufficiently hearing about Krishna, very, very important. In the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, I don't know the Sanskrit, but there's the verse that this hearing of Srimad Bhagavatam, it is the boat. Just like you get on a boat to cross the river. So to hear about Krishna and to speak about Krishna is the boat. And gradually, it is like a boat, and it is like a cloth for washing our heart. So when we hear about Krishna, it is showing Krishna we're interested in him, and he will take, it is said, he will take a broom and start cleaning our heart. But it may take time. It does take time. So we have that Upadeshamrita, which gives the success tips. And so the advice is we should be patient. We have to be patient with ourselves, in the sense that it's going to take some time, but at the same time, we should be enthusiastic to follow the process with faith and confidence that it will work. When Lord Chaitanya was asked, well, how does one get faith? He said, by associating with those who do have faith. By associating, by hearing, and being near those who are enthusiastic. And then we become enthused that, yes, this will work. So patient and enthusiastic. So hearing the glories of Krishna and the science of bhakti is a very, very important part of the process. It's Shravanam Kirtanam, which, if we think about it, when we share Krishna consciousness, we are, whether it's speaking to our own self or to relatives or to friends or to whoever it may be, when we're sharing, then we are fully engaged in both hearing and speaking. And not only that, by doing that sharing, however much we do or can, Krishna is very happy. So then one may ask, well, okay, it's a gradual process. Is there anything which makes it a little quicker? Is there anything we can do to make it work faster? So yes, Srila Prabhupada and the pure devotees have given us some hints how we can accelerate our progress by worshiping and paying respect to pure devotees, Tulsi Devi, our spiritual master, by paying attention to the glorification of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, very important. And as we are able to assist or directly share Krishna consciousness, these activities will earn us special mercy from Krishna. Yeah. So just like in school, sometimes a teacher says, if you answer these 2 other questions, you'll get 10 more points. So extra credit. So these are extra credit, paying attention to the worship of Tulsi and Gaur Nitai and spiritual masters. And also, I was discussing with someone recently how, reminding myself, when Sanatana Goswami was meeting with Lord Chaitanya, and Lord Chaitanya described the whole science of Krishna, and Sanatana Goswami was a very learned man, but he said, this is great, it's fabulous. What you have spoken to me makes perfect sense, but I can't take it within my heart fully unless you put your feet on my head. And Prahlad Maharaj also, he offered in the prayer, he said, there's no way, when he was talking about his father, Hiranyakashipu, he said, there is no way you can turn your attention to Krishna, even if you want to, almost. But if you get the dust of the lotus feet of the pure devotee, that will enable you So there's this principle of it's not just like when people work out to build muscles, they lift weights, and it's kind of it's mechanical pretty much. You just lift them regularly and you get bigger muscles. But bhakti yoga is not like that. We will definitely cause ourselves unnecessary discouragement, perhaps, if we try and make progress or try and attain Krishna without asking for mercy, without begging for mercy. This is the example of pure devotees. Narottam Das Thakur, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, they have written songs. It's nice to hear those or read those songs occasionally so we can understand how to pray, what to ask for, what to do. To really, Guru, Tulsi, past pure devotees, Gaurnitai, and really beg, may I please be allowed to turn my attention more fully to Krishna and following the usual sadhana. So these are some very nice advice that can help us. And then what can ruin it, right? We know what that is. If we make offenses, if we verbally abuse a devotee, especially an advanced devotee, or what to speak of physically, or if we speak harshly, even within our mind, to the spiritual master, these things will not help us. Krishna is not happy by that. So offenses, we want to avoid making offenses. And so in that way, we can make progress, as in this purport, to become a Buddha Bhava Samanvita more and more. One final thing, Srila Prabhupada explains to us that Krishna will arrange our life to help us. He will arrange us to be in different situations and circumstances which help us to develop the necessary qualities and to become more interested, more interested in deeper surrender. So Krishna is there working in the background. On the point of patience, so Srila Prabhupada explains to us that the path of bhakti and going back to Godhead, it is a gradual process. Hopefully in this life, years go by. And Lord Krishna instructs Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita that one should live a balanced life. A balanced life. Eating, sleeping, recreation, balance. Especially if we are not fully awakened on the pure devotional platform. If we try to imitate, if we just try and act like we think we're supposed to act, like chanting and hearing 26 hours a day, we may be able to do that, but generally not. We need a little break. So Krishna says like that, balance of recreation. We go for walks, we go for a swim, we do this, we do that, we have our favorite prasadam, whatever it may be, as so far it doesn't interfere with our sadhana, so that we feel refreshed and we carry on. Very important. Lord Krishna says, what's that? That Falga Vairagya Uchite, that we should be careful about false renunciation, just trying to be more renounced than we really are. And of course, the other side is overindulging too much, that we get diverted from devotion. So a balance. And Srila Prabhupada was asked, how can I tell if I'm doing well in Krishna consciousness? So one time he answered, you're happy. We should be, things are difficult regularly and there are challenges, but hopefully we can feel cheerful in our heart most of the time. And that's an indication that our life is in balance and that we are following the process. So these are some things that I remember, and I feel fortunate to share them with the devotees and remind myself. So I'll stop here.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, thank you very much. I really liked the balance with recreation point. But before we deliberate on that, Mansi Ganga Mataji has a question, and then this meeting will end in the next 3 minutes. So kindly log in on the same, again, click on the same link again so that we can continue. Over to you, Mansi Ganga Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Mataji. Okay, she had made a request. She had a burning question, but I guess she's having challenges, internet challenges.
Yeah.
Okay, she's back. Hare Krishna, Mansi Ganga
How
Mataji.
I couldn't get back to this.
You are back. You are back.
The sound में नहीं आ रहा है।
Aa raha hai. We can hear you, Mataji.
Okay. Oh God, see again. Okay. Sorry. Am I there?
Yes, you are. You are.
I can't see no one.
Can you see us?
All right. Okay, finally. My burning question is, Prabhu, thank you very much for a very, what should I say, heart-touching, session you gave us. You mentioned about samskaras, yes?
Samskaras, yes.
Samskaras, yeah. My point is, say, somebody is coming from a very bad background as far as samskaras go. And if you want to kind of arrange a marriage, this is devotee community I'm talking about. And it's kind of playing a heavy on my mind. I know the girl comes from a very, very bad samskar. But as we all know, it's a gradual process and, it's a curing process. However, the boy has very good samskaras. So should I go ahead with something like this or should I not go ahead? It's something that's bugging my life big time. So I thought, since you mentioned, let me ask you, how
Yes.
much previous samskaras play a role in a marriage situation?
Well, we can understand from Bhagavad Gita itself that we all have these samskaras to one degree or the other. It's guaranteed. And Srila Prabhupada advised that for marriage, that astrological consultation can be very helpful. There are certain things known to marriage counselors which help relationships to be more successful. I don't claim to be an expert on marriage. There are.
No, it's just the point of